Is U.S. history to 1877 a story of opportunity? The people of the United States of America have all come from different parts of the world to have their own chance to make their life improve. However, this was not the case for everyone, such as women, African Americans, and Native Americans. In the early years of U.S. history, white men were the only ones able to benefit the most in America. In a way, it was their story of opportunity. The most commonly known stories of opportunity come from a predominantly white side of history. We've known this from the beginning of our school lives, starting with Christopher Columbus's discovery of the New World and with the advancement of our knowledge in history. Looking at Dave Nicholson's article, First Slaves, First Hope, the first Africans were indentured in America, one would assume that they would be released like their white counterparts. However, looking more closely at indentured servant records, it is detailed to full names, age, arrival dates, and ships that brought them. However, looking at African American indentured slaves, they were considered Negro men or women with little to no records which show their service is not finite like their white counterparts. Looking at the picture that is shown here, it shows the first names only and references them as black or mulatto. Now, Manifest Destiny is another major key here. Manifest Destiny brought America from sea to shining sea. Manifest Destiny, they considered it to civilize the savages. While settlers moved westward, Indians were forced westward as well and had to give lands to the new settlers oncoming. Manifest Destiny was helped by Andrew Jackson's radicalism of military force within Florida to put down Indian rebellion. Now, the famous picture American Progress by John Gast depicts Columbia bringing light and knowledge to the West. This is shown by the darkness within the left side and the advancement of technology from the right onwards to the left.
Throughout the years, women are oppressed, it is tradition. In America, white women were housewives and husbands held power over the family. The Declaration of Independence and the Constitution do not mention the status of women, leaving them no rights. During marriage, any land or money is transferred to the husband, giving him power over her. African women were shipped from their homes and forced into slavery. The consequence of their marrying is this: for the law against them are so severe that being caught after running away, they are unmercifully whipped, and if they die under the punishment, their masters suffer no punishment. There is no law against murdering them. The settlers relied on Native American women to grow food for them, wash their clothes, and keep them company through their struggles. Although white settlers invaded their land and forced them to work, Native American men have treated their women with respect.
America stopped being the land of opportunity the moment when English colonists first made their settlements in Jamestown, Virginia during the 1600s. After that, the Native Americans have been forced into slavery and infected with diseases. Since Indian slavery was largely illegal, it is not clear on how many Indians have been enslaved. However, adding up all the Indian slaves taken in the New World from Columbus to the 19th century, the number would be near 2.5 to 5 million slaves. The passing of the Indian Act of 1850 made it legal to arrest any Native American wandering from place to place and then sold to the highest bidder. This encouraged white people to get their hands on Native American children, where they were taken as indentured and then forced to be domestic servants or farm laborers. Infectious diseases was the most effective weapon bought by the Europeans. By 1759, 60% of the Native American population was wiped out by smallpox. Initial labor for sugarcane plantations in the New World would fall on Native Americans, but 95% of Native Americans in the Caribbean and the Atlantic coast population had died due to disease and labor. Soon, African slavery would replace Native American slave labor.
One of the largest groups that were greatly at disadvantage from the start was the African Americans and their descendants. It all started with the African slave trade when Africans were forced to leave their homeland and sold to different parts of the world as workers. It is considered to be the largest forced migration in history, and it already shows that their opportunity to have regular lives was taken away from them. The Virginia laws that were passed in the 17th and 18th centuries also showed that they did not have a story opportunity once again. One of the major laws was in 1605, which stated, Act 11. All persons except Negroes are to be provided with arms and ammunition or be fined at the pleasure of the governor and council. The government did not want to arm the African Americans because they believed that it would be used against them. Another law in 1705 had mentioned that people who were brought into the country and was not already Christian was considered to be slaves. During the American Revolution, African Americans were part of both sides, which does give them an opportunity to fight for their country or gain their freedom. It was possible because of Lord Dunmore's proclamation in November 1775. He said by joining to fight with the British, blacks and others would be set free. African Americans were used as laborers instead, and they were not given their promise to freedom afterwards. Even though each of these groups had their own opportunities to rise up or improve, it was mostly white men who benefited from these chances in history. So, the history of the United States to 1877 was not a story of equal opportunity.